I'm going to teach you why Olympic lifting is essential for javelin throwers.
Do you want to take your training to the next level? Download the Jacked Javelin mobile app, where you have access to dozens of free resources that cover topics such as nutrition, arm care, mobility, plyometrics, and most importantly, javelin technique. We also have our free community, which connects thousands of throwers from all around the world to communicate and help each other out. You will also have the option to purchase one of our training programs written directly by me with video demonstrations of each exercise telling you exactly how many sets and reps to do, as well as the option to track your metrics so you can keep track of your progress. See you on the inside.
So there are three main reasons why Olympic lifting is essential for javelin throwers. One is because it is a strength through length exercise. Two is because it helps you build power. And three is because you can use it as a CNS primer. So what all that means is when you are doing a clean, you are holding the bar in a front rack position, which means you are using the weight of the barbell to stretch out your wrists and your forearms, as well as at the bottom of that front squat position, you are using that deep squat position to work on the mobility of your ankles, knees, and hips as well. So we're using the weight of the bar to help us get into a deeper range of motion, just like any other strength through length exercise, where we take mobility and add weight to it to make it more difficult for us and have us get stronger and into deeper ranges of motion. Next is we use it as a power movement. So what that means is we're staying between 2 and 5 reps, and we're using it to build as much weight room power as we really possibly can. Oftentimes people will train really heavy and slow in the weight room doing bench, squat, deadlift, and then they go out into the field and they go the opposite direction and they sprint and jump. And so you got slow movements in the weight room and then really fast movements on the field. And Olympic lifting is great to bridge the gap between the two of those and have you do a fast and heavy explosive movement in the weight room. So a main reason why Olympic lifting helps your power so much is because it helps you practice the ability of triple extension in the weight room. So what triple extension is when your ankles, knees, and hips will extend before you do an athletic or powerful movement. So think about when you're doing a broad jump or a vertical jump or a reverse med ball throw over your head. It's the same thing in the Olympic lifts. When we're coming up off the ground, we're going ankles, knees, hips, and then as our hips fire through, our arms are super relaxed, and then we'll pull the bar up as the hips fire through. So that ability of triple extension really translates very, very well to athletic performance in general, not just throwing, but jumping as well. Another way that we develop power in the off season is we use a combination of light and fast full range of motion movements and really heavy and explosive partial range of motion movements. So what that means is we might do hang power cleans all day, where we're going here, starting at the waist, and then pulling up, catching it tall, going full range of motion, but we're going really light and fast, working on the explosiveness. And then our second lift of the day might be going with a block clean or a high pull from the ground. So we're focusing more on having more weight and pulling at a limited range of motion, maybe not even catching it. So that way we're just working on the pull off the ground or a limited range of motion clean so that it's heavier, but it's not as much range of motion. So it's not as hard because you're not pulling off the ground as much. So using this combination of light and fast, full range of motion, and heavy and explosive block movements and pulls from the ground is gonna help you bridge the gap between heavy and explosive, fast and light, to be heavy, fast, and explosive. And last but not least, we use this as a CNS primer. So when you're using the Olympic lifts in the off season to build your power, then during the season, you will scale back, go between about 60 and 70% effort, and the day before the meet, you'll hit some Olympic lifts at a fast and light pace, but because we're dialing back the intensity in terms of weight, it acts as a central nervous system primer. So we are not taxing the central nervous system by going crazy, crazy heavy, but we are going light and fast because we have that base built up from the off season. So doing this the day before the meet is really, really helpful to go out and have a really good performance the next day. What's your central nervous system? Your central nervous system is essentially what allows you to get excited and fired up and feel really amped before going into a competition. If you've ever felt really, really low and sedated and lackadaisical, that means that your central nervous system is very low. But then you might get up off the couch and you start moving around and so on and so forth, and you start getting that blood flow going, and then you start getting fired up and primed and ready to move as you're going through like a dynamic warm-up. And then after the dynamic warm-up, you'll go into some sprints and stuff like that. So anything that's high, fast velocity movement will help your central nervous system get very fired up, which is why the day before and the day of the meet, we're doing a lot of medicine balls, Olympic lifts, sprints, and jumps to make sure that we're getting ready for prime competition that day. A lot of times after a heavy training block, you might feel super sore and that your body is very taxed. So it's really hard for you to get going in the gym or training some days, because your workload is so high that your central nervous system just takes a little bit longer to get going and warmed up. But during the season, when we have the whole off season to train, we're scaling back the intensity. So when we lift, our central nervous system is not getting taxed. We're just maintaining our strength, trying to move the weight more fast and explosive in limited ranges of motion, and just go out and focus on having a great competition. One of my favorite examples of the CNS getting fired up the day before the meet is one of the first YouTube videos I ever made down at the Texas Relays with my athlete Jordan Davis, who his PR was 74 meters at the time. We worked really hard on the Olympic lifts that off season. So he was doing 2 sets of 2 at 275 pounds the day before the meet. So that was actually really light for him because he was able to get to above a 350 max that year in the power clean. So when we scaled it back the day before the meet, he did 2 sets of 2 at 275. He went out the next day and threw 83 meters at the Texas Relays and PR'd by 9 meters. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something, and be sure to check out our other videos about javelin training.